Welcome to Speedcubing 101. This is Cube Mom. How are you? How are things inside of cubing and life outside of cubing? I missed you, and this long delay to get this episode out warrants some explanation. I know you're here for Felix, so if you want, you can skip ahead about 3 minutes because I'm going to yammer about my life for a little bit. This episode, which I think you're going to really enjoy. Felix shares who bought him his first cube, the key moments where it really clicked for him that he's good at this. He reflects on long-lasting friendships he's made through cubing, what it's like to be a celebrity star at a world championship, his thoughts on the live streaming that's growing in popularity, the new generation of very young cubers who are crushing it. And he was really kind and gracious with all my questions. Some I planned, some I didn't, including one where I asked him what his thoughts are for someone who wants to become the next Feliks Zemdegs. Now, this was recorded in August. I know I grimace. And I even shared with Felix that I anticipate it would probably be published in October. September's a busy time with back to school, me volunteering at the school. Now, if you didn't want to skip ahead earlier, you can now, because this is exactly where I'm going to talk about my life a little bit. At the end of August, I decided to do something that wasn't on my bingo card for 2025. I decided to register for a course. It was a motion graphics, video editing, vector graphics class that you take at college. And my kids have always known that I am pretty serious about homework. But what they learned through this experience is I am even more serious about homework when it's my homework and not their homework. So this course consumed a ton of time. It was really stressful for me and also very stressful for my kids, to the point where I got to the final project and I decided to drop out of the class. It just simply was not worth finishing the course. So my kids also saw that in life, there are times you do need to make a decision. This course was not a requirement for work. No one is ever going to ask for the certificate showing that I took it or for my grade. I am a person who likes to start what I finish, but family comes first, and I doubt you will see me taking a course again while my kids are still kids and not adults. So that's how my term went. I know I've chatted with some cubers in my area where they just started university. Term one was really difficult. And I'm not saying drop out, but as this episode publishes during the holiday break, take the time to recover, to recharge, and to reconnect. Anyways, that is why I was not able to edit and publish this episode earlier. Thank you for your patience. Enough about me. Let's get to the one and only Feliks Zemdegs. Welcome to Speedcubing 101. We have our fourth and final recap of Rubik's World Championship 2025. And today we have the anchor to our team here, Feliks Zemdegs. Welcome to Speedcubing 101.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, my cuber started competing 16 months ago. You started competing 16 years ago. So the wealth of knowledge and insight here is going to be very helpful for people listening. We are going to talk about worlds, of course, but I wanted to get a bit of your journey because not everybody knows. How old were you when you got your first cube and who was it from?
For sure. My first cube, I got it myself, actually. So this was at a time when I think YouTube was only just released. So YouTube was about 1 or 2 years old, and it was this website where you could go and watch cool videos, and it was like amazing. And one of the videos that I came across was like the 2007 YouTube Awards. It was the Rubik's Cube, how to solve a Rubik's Cube tutorial. And so I watched that. I'd played with a cube before. I'd never known how to solve it. I'd probably got a side or a layer or something like that. But I saw this video and I was like, I need to go get a cube and follow this tutorial and learn how to solve it. So yeah, I didn't get it from anyone. I asked my mum for some cash and went up the street to the puzzle store and bought a cube myself, and then learned how to solve it. And so that was in 2008. So I was 12 years old um, at the time when I first learned. So yeah, young for the time, but not so young these days.
It's funny to hear you say you didn't know how to solve a cube, because there was a time when you didn't know how to solve a cube, and everyone does start somewhere where they don't know. Do you remember who made that video?
Yeah, it was one of the most famous ones on YouTube. It's called it's Dan Brown Pogo Bat. It's like this guy is very has a very loud voice and sort of yells at the camera a bit,
Okay.
but gets you excited about solving the cube and teaches you green cross. And yeah, it was. It's not the greatest tutorial, but in terms of just motivating people to get in, it was one of the most popular ones early on in the day. I think many of the older generation of cubers might have learned from Dan Brown's tutorial still.
Which is why I have not heard of it, because it is the older cubing generation's time.
I think it would have been one of the first tutorials
ever
on YouTube to probably first Rubik's Cube tutorials on YouTube. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, we know from the documentary Netflix that you were quite obsessed at that point. How did your parents support you with this obsession? What were they thinking? What were they doing around it for you?
My parents are always very supportive. Me and my brother of sort of everything we do.
All in, right?
With cubing, yeah. And me and my brother were, these kids who I think we were always pretty active, whether that's, we did all sorts of sports as kids and we'd be running around all weekend doing that. We'd get into random hobbies. I think my brother was a bit more into video games. I would do things like, I don't know, learn how to juggle or try and learn magic tricks. And so more of the nerdy types of hobbies. And so I think when I first learned it, my parents said, yep, get a couple of cubes, no worries. Happy to support. Just don't do it at the dinner table or don't do it all day. And then I had to convince them. I had to do a bit of work to convince them to buy a Speedcube. I think that was the first hurdle, because back in the day you could only buy Speedcubes like online, and this was at a time when people were quite skeptical of online shopping.
Yes.
Like why would I put my credit card in to this website? Who knows where it goes, right? And so I had to convince them, no, this is a legit store. Look, there's this person on this forum that they've bought something from this store and it's got delivered, and you're not going to get scammed. My dad's tech savvy, so he's fine with it. But even still, it was. I think I remember it was not a time where you paid for things online. So, but that was the only way to get a better Speedcube. Right. So they were supportive there, and then as I sort of practice a lot and improved, they could see it was something I was very, very passionate about. At the time, there were no competitions in Australia.
Oh,
so that was a bit of a struggle because I was improving. It'd be nice to go and compete. I'd met some local cubers, like we would have unofficial meetups, in the mall and things like that. But it was still pretty small. So they actually took me to the first ever competition in New Zealand. So it's a few hours flight away from Australia. And we went on a family holiday there. And at the end of it, I did my competition. And so, they were supportive enough to schedule a whole family holiday around it, which was pretty cool in hindsight.
New Zealand's not a hard sell, really.
Yeah. But to say, all right, we're going to competitions 1 or 2 days at the end. No. But they could see I was really into it. And then I think in the early years, especially going to a lot of as competitions started up in Australia, and as I would start traveling more, my dad was really the one that was taking me everywhere. Any competition I wanted to go to, he would be there, and he would video it, and all of his videos online are. People still say they're some of the best filmed videos of like world records and reactions, because he did a great job with those. Zoom in, zoom out, and
you said they're online.
Like a lot of the old videos on my channel, like world records and things like that, they'd be all filmed by my dad. So he was very into it.
Yes. Now you got the cube that you bought on your own. You were practicing. You were learning. When did it become clearer to you that you're good at this?
Mm, it's a good question. Probably like there's probably a couple of moments, I think. The first one was probably when I went to my first competition. Again,
Mm,
at the time, there hadn't been any competitions in Australia. There'd only been, I don't know, 50 or 100 Australians that had ever
mm.
competed or something like that. So the records weren't particularly strong by world standards. But even still, I managed to, I think, get around 50th or 60th in the world at my first competition and get the Australian record. So that was a cool milestone. But again, I would put a bit of an asterisk on those because
Yes.
because there hadn't been that many people that had had a chance to compete at the time. Um, then I think where I was really like, oh yeah, this is good. Was the 2009 World Championships were held. I didn't go. I actually like had fractured my wrist, and I think I was still too young, and it was too far away to even think about going. To be honest, and it was in middle school, and blah blah blah. And it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't going to be a possibility. But at the time, like I was, following along some results and looking at the times, and I was, practicing myself at home, obviously, and very sad I couldn't be there. And the times that I was getting at home were like, roughly on pace with the finalists, the top three at that World Championship. And so I think in there, and I was just continuing to improve every month. So I think at that point, in my mind it clicked like, all right, why can't I like, be the best? And I'm still improving. I'm not sure. It's like some of these guys are getting older and they're not really improving. Like I'm just improving like half a second every month or something crazy like that. And so I think that's probably where it clicked for me. Like, okay, I think I can be the
Yes,
best at
yes.
this.
And your second competition? How many cubers go to their second competition and get the world record?
Yeah, it's, it's not that common these days. I'm sure it would have happened a few times back in the day, but yeah, it's not common. But that was a nice moment as well. I think for a long time, everyone was sort of pushing for the sub 10 barrier in 3x3
Yes.
average. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to be the one that finally broke it. And it was the end of some, we actually still have the competition. It was called Melbourne Summer
Yeah.
2010. We still have Melbourne
Oh,
Summer competitions
it's like a
all these years
tradition.
later. But it's the big, yeah, but it's the big competition at the end of summer, at the end of school holidays. So everyone's just been, well, if you're like me, you've been practicing, all summer for months and you get your opportunity. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to do well, get some times that were representative of what I could do at home. Because I think that there was a lot of pressure both from myself and other people because the times that I'd been putting down at home were under 10 all the time. But then it's a different story when you have to go and do it in
Absolutely.
competition. But I was lucky.
And
Yeah.
how did you handle that mental game? Because going into this and you're not even a seasoned competitor at this point. Did you anticipate in your head? Did you put pressure on? What were you telling yourself? How are you handling everything?
It was so long ago. I can't really remember, but I think that's probably something. People talk a lot about big competition experience and being an experienced competitor, but I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid, I didn't really
Yeah.
overthink it
You're
too
just having
much.
fun.
Like, or yeah, I was having fun. Cubing with friends, being at the first ever competition in Australia, and being like more excited about the opportunity to put some really good times down and get a record, whether that's like a national record or world record. So I mean, I'm sure I would have been nervous each solve as they went, but I think it was in general when I was younger, it was more about the excitement of, okay, here's my chance to do
Yeah.
really, really well.
Yeah.
You're not really thinking too much about the bigger picture of
Yes.
things.
The nice parts about being a kid. Uh,
Yeah,
so you've set, do you know how many world records you've set?
I do.
Okay, so it's 121 for those who don't know.
Yeah,
Is there one that stands out for you?
it's a good question. When I think about them, this is the answer that I sort of give to this question because it is one that people asked before. The answer that I give is there's a couple that are probably my
Hmm.
favorite. The first one would be the first sub 10 average because of just how long I'd been practicing for. I'd been cubing for almost 2 years and gotten gotten to be the best sort of at home. But then to break through and put that time down in competition and get my first record, that was pretty special. And then the other one I think was probably the it was a 5.97 average, my first sub 6 official average, which was in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why that one was special is because throughout, ever since I got like sort of the 9-second average, I'd always held the record. But then a kid named Max came along and he took the 3x3 record average, which was the first time. And it was like a bit of a shock to me and maybe a little bit of a surprise for maybe those who hadn't been following so much. So it was the first time where I'd really had to, like, a serious competitor that I had to practice and take the record back from, and so that was
take the record
sort of very
back.
satisfying. Very satisfying to take the record back, to go sub 6, and then sort of keep holding it for years after that. So those are probably the two that are the most special. But I mean, any world record is pretty special.
Of course.
Yeah.
Couple of questions that weren't on the sheet. When you got into Cuba and then you're traveling with your family to go to competitions, you said before you were doing magic and juggling and some other nerdier hobbies. Did you stick with any of those on any level, or did everything just become cubing?
Absolutely
Okay.
not. No. Absolutely not. It was cubing entirely. Okay. I mean, I still would have done like, bit of sport here and there, but no. I had a real knack for cubing and probably not as much talent or ability in many of the other hobbies that I did, and even like musical instruments, I was no good. Cubing really took over from when I was 12, the start of high school, until forever.
So Felix, I'm curious because you've been in this so long. You've set so many world records and and you've had rivals like Max, right, come along. How competitive are you, like, inside? And because I noticed some cubers are so hungry to win. Like, when they don't get what they thought they would get, they are so devastated and upset. And others, they missed like podium or something and they're like, oh, well, I had fun, right? Whereas others were like crushed. As a expert in world records, how necessary is it to be hungry and just dissatisfied without getting, the level that you want to be at?
I think to get to anywhere near the top of the world in any discipline, in cubing or elsewhere, I think you need to be pretty hungry, right? You need to really, really want it. You can't just sort of stumble into it, right? So I think you need to have a strong sort of internal desire to put in the work to even get to that level. So that's the start. But then I think everyone probably has their own different ways of approaching competition. I think anyone who's gone and put in so much work, they're naturally competitive. They're naturally hungry and driven to want to succeed or want to win. Cubing is something where there's only one winner, and in Worlds there's 1,999 non-winners. So it is a sport. I think a sport or hobby. I think it is something where you need to be hungry, but also very, very resilient as well. Like, even from solve to solve or round to round, you're going to have so many ups and downs. So I think it's very important to be hungry, but also to remember that there's variance. Not everything goes your way. A lot of things are out of your control. So you sort of have to remember that, okay, you've put in the work, you've given yourself the best opportunity, but it doesn't always go amazingly unless you're team on, and then I don't know. I don't know how he does it, but he just does amazing every solve, every round. No, even team on doesn't, to be honest. But it makes it look easy. So you sort of have to you have to have a thick skin, I think, in queuing to do well. I'm really really competitive. Like I like to um, yeah, I like to win. I like to do my best. I get super pumped up when I do well. Um, and I think I think yeah, maybe back in the day it would be, unless I win, I would be, super annoyed. But now I think um, if I've done well for myself, I've put in the work, I've practiced, and I get a good result, I don't really care where
Mm.
I place, to be honest. Like it's more the internal satisfaction of putting in the work, and getting a good result for yourself. And so yeah, that's sort of how my competitive drive manifests now. But yeah, it's nice to win things as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to compete against you in anything. I feel like after what you said. Okay, so let's start talking about Worlds 2025. First of all, how
Mm.
many world championships have you competed at?
I have competed at this is my seventh. So yeah, I've been to everyone since from 2011.
Okay. And you made the trip from Australia over to Seattle. What
Yeah.
was it like competing at Worlds 2025?
Um, Competing at Worlds 2025. Yeah, it was. I went in thinking that I wouldn't be particularly stressed, and relative to the other worlds, it was pretty chill. Um, I uh, yeah, I prepared a fair bit, just through the first 6 months of the year, like putting in a bit more time and practice and learning a few new things, and so
Learning new
I
things?
enjoyed
What
the
were you
sort of
learning?
just like trying to refresh some ZBLLs that I know and making sure they're good, and you know the process of getting good cubes and good hardware so I can do my best, um, and that sort of thing. So that was a sort of satisfying, lead
Right.
up to Worlds where you're putting in the times and then you're seeing like I put in at the start of the year some stupid like insane goals
Uh-huh.
for like my home
Uh-huh.
practice, and I ended up achieving like 80% of them. Which at the time when I wrote them down, I was like, "Oh, there's no way I'm getting any of these." But that was like just very satisfying in
Mm,
itself, like improving and seeing that
yes.
at home. Um, Worlds, and then going to Worlds. Yeah, I mean, my times were as they normally are at competitions, like a little bit
Mhm.
worse. The thing that stood out for me about Worlds this year was really just the next level size and scale. It was just such an epic venue, auditorium, the seating, and it was yeah, it was absolutely gigantic. The atmosphere, I would say this was like the best atmosphere of any Worlds that I've been to, or um, the equal best. It was pretty incredible, but it still had that sort of community, I think, community feel, community spirit. Everything was so professional and like well run. It was yeah, it was a very cool experience, and yeah, loved going up on stage
Mhm.
anytime that I had that opportunity. I was mostly competing on the sort of main stage area, um, and yeah, it's fun. It's my first time doing solves with like the
Uh,
overhead camera
oh,
as well,
really?
for the stream. I'd never, yeah,
Oh.
I hadn't been to like I don't go to the US very much for the comps, or at least since they've sort of been putting those overhead cams in. So that was cool for the first time.
Huh.
So yeah, I really enjoyed my experience at this Worlds, and yeah, I was like satisfied enough with the results. A few things were good, a few things were not so good, but that's how it goes.
So I spoke with a parent who said that the parent and the cuber met you, I think, during the line. And the parent, I guess, said to you, "Hey, how does it feel to be this, adored celebrity cuber?" And according to this parent, I might have gotten it wrong. The parent said you said something like, "Well, it's really nice. It's one day a year that it happens." Is this somewhat something you recall happening and something you would have said?
That sounds like something I would have said. It is. I can't imagine being like an actual celebrity. That would be insane. To be a real celebrity and walking down the street or trying to do anything, it would be a nightmare because I kind of get a micro experience of that, I guess, when I go to competitions. Worlds was sort of the next level of that. I think all previous competitions I've been to before Worlds 2025, it's been pretty manageable. Like I've been able to walk around the venue, you know, have a chat, sit down, and sort of it's been pretty chill. Whereas just because of the size of World Championships and the 7,000 people there, it kind of meant that it was pretty. I have to sort of focus to get from one place to the other, or I sort of put my headphones on and my hoodie on um, to get to somewhere where I need to be, because I was still trying to. I'm not like a serious competitor like many of the others, but I'm still trying to do well for myself. So I want to warm
Yes.
up and make sure I'm well prepared for my rounds and that sort of thing. And if I wasn't so deliberate and focused about that, it would have been a challenge. But no, it's such a lovely thing to sort of be a part of that for 4 days and hear so many nice comments about people's kids getting into cubing, or people getting into cubing because of me, or from the documentary. I'm amazed still how much traction that documentary is getting, and even nowadays, people just watching it and getting into cubing. I think that's had a massive impact. So, yeah, it's very special. It's very special, but uh, it takes a lot of my energy as well. I'm a bit of an introvert, and so to sort of be available and be nice and accommodating for 4 days is takes a lot of my energy. I really enjoy it, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I tried to conserve some energy for the competition itself, not
Yes.
just autographs
Yeah.
and photos. And they had a really nice area. Actually, it was quite a nice thing up the back where you could sort of. It was like a photo free zone,
Yep.
or a photo autograph free zone, where if you're in there, it means you're practicing or warming up for an event, and people respected that a lot, which was nice. Yeah, and everyone's very respectful all the time as well. But sometimes I did have to say, "Oh, sorry, I need to go compete, or I need to go get ready for my round, or whatever."
You talked about the scale and the community and all of that. Now that we're a little bit removed from Worlds, what memories are you taking away that were there some interactions that you're like, yeah, I always remember talking to so-and-so about this, or
Mm, it's a good question. I think one of the things that's very satisfying for me and I've seen it many times before, is seeing people sort of grow up with cubing and improve and achieve things for themselves. It's such a satisfying sort of journey to be on, and I feel like I've been a part of so many of those other people's journeys. And so I think there's probably a few moments, like, I mean, even just like after 3x3 finals, I imagine like anyone that's gotten to that final is just so thrilled and chuffed to be there. And so I remember, people like whether it's the American guys like Luke Greiser and Dylan Miller. Those guys are super serious and super like locked into their cubing, and so I can't imagine how much pressure they put on themselves and preparation. And so it was very satisfying. I haven't been a part of their journeys specifically or too deeply, but just to chat to them and say, I know how hard you've worked and how much how much pressure you put on yourself to be there, and so you should be very, very proud of yourself. So stuff like that. One of the other special memories was for the Nations Cup from Australia. So there's three of us in Melbourne. Me, David Epstein, and Riley Dexter. David and Riley I think they're both like 18 now, but again, I've seen them grow up in cubing for the past 8-10 years. I think I met Riley before he even went to his first competition. And there's a photo. And so for us to sort of have grown up together and now be
your
doing the Nations Cup
colleagues
together, that was pretty special. Yeah, exactly. And like we did well, we came fourth, and we hyped up the crowd. We had a lot of fun. I think we had the most fun of any of the teams there, to be honest, because we're like, all right, we're not going to beat America or China. We're just chilling out, and so that was very fun as well. And then in the first round of 3x3, us three Melbourne guys, we got like, we were all in the top 20, which again, like the sort of three kids, or me and the two kids that are being grown up in cubing and going to all these local comps to see them both in the top
Mm-hmm.
20 at the biggest,
Yeah.
most competitive competition ever was very special. I mean, there's so many other things, to be honest. Like just celebrating with everyone that does well and has such special moments. Is, I mean, the other ones that stand out would be Sebastian Weyer from Germany, who I've known since I was little uh, and competed against for such a long time. And he's now a dad, and I'm just so amazed and inspired by how he can win a world championship title at the age of 27 while being a dad. That is just like incredible. And so to see him and celebrate with him was insane. I'm like so amazed by that. And then yeah, meeting all sorts of new cubers and seeing them do well. The commenting on the on the final, the 3x3 final was fun. I thought I would be a bit more like bummed out by not making the finals, and sort of go there and be like, oh, have sort of jealousy, like, oh, I wish I could sort of be there and be competing. That would be way more fun. But actually, I had so much fun commentating on it. So that was a blast as well. But yeah, so many special memories with people, and yeah, I think the theme of just seeing people grow up in cubing, put in so much hard work, and then achieving things. I've sort of get a deep satisfaction from being part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's it like seeing, because you started competing at 12, and there are
Mm.
so many cubers, including my own, that are younger than that, and even top cubers who are younger than that. What's it like just
Mm.
seeing these little ones achieving great things?
Yeah, it's it's pretty wild. When I started, like 12 years old was really young. Like there was, even the people around my area locally, and the top competitors online, top competitors, they were all young adults, 18 or older, pretty much. So even then, that was like really
Mhm.
young, but it just seems to get younger and younger as time goes on. Um, and yeah, kids like Yihang and Xuanyi and Qixuan. I mean, like I don't even know, like I don't even know what to say. I'm just like mind blown um, by what they can do. And they all do things slightly differently in their own unique way. I mean, Yihang, just with his insane turning, and Xuanyi with just the best solutions in the world. Like it's one thing to be a sort of a young kid, and you can understand. Oh, I can sort of understand that with the sort of being young, you'll be very dexterous,
Mhm.
you'll be able to turn faster,
Mhm.
and so it's sort of makes sense that okay, maybe a younger kid will be able to turn so incredibly quickly and sort of outdo everyone. That feels intuitive and makes sense. But then when you go to Xuanyi and he has the most like efficient uh, and the most efficient and best solutions for solving the cube, that's just a whole next level. Like to be able to at that age
Yes.
have the sort of knowledge and ability to have the best
Yes.
solutions is just incredible. So yeah, I'm I would say like once a week I go onto the reconstructions and learn something new from their solves every day. So it's pretty cool. But and the world's final was just so insane to watch.
Yes.
How well they did, and how much of a spectacle that was. And so I'm sure we'll be seeing that for many years to come. But yeah, I love watching it. I love watching it. It's so cool.
I think what you're saying, is like the solving IQ for Zhuanyi is just beyond what he should
Yes,
probably have at his age, especially, and experience with cubing even. That's incredible.
exactly. Like it's team on level solutions, but the Timon's a full time cuber. He puts so much time into improving those, so much deliberate practice, and I'm sure Xuanyi does as well. But yeah, it's very high cubing IQ stuff.
Yes. So you've seen the average age get younger with speed cubing. What else have you seen about the cubing community over time? How has it evolved? How has it changed?
Yeah, I think over time the main thing is it just gets bigger and more professional sort of every year. Ever since I started it, it feels like it's just it just keeps growing endlessly. There'll be periods where it sort of waxes and wanes, and maybe it's different in different regions or different parts of the world, and especially like the the official competitions are really, really important for the community. So if you have like a community
Mm-hmm.
that's growing that has a lot of competitions, that's just super
Mm-hmm.
beneficial. So if you have sort of both of those things, yeah, I mean, generally it just grows and grows and becomes way more professional, and that's been pretty cool. I mean, some of the other things would be things like the hardware and the manufacturers. Obviously, they've become way bigger now since I started, to the point where they're almost sort of household brands. Like, and again, has a couple of retail stores now, um, uh, and so they're yeah the manufacturers are massive companies, not just like some tiny online
Yeah.
tiny online thing. I think social media was probably a big change as well. Like maybe in the mid 2010s is sort of when that became a thing. I mean, previously to that, people would be posting their solves on YouTube and there'd be some online interaction, but it wasn't really the case that cubers were sort of, marketing themselves in that way. And so social media and sponsorships and all the benefits that sort of top or professional cubers can get from that has been a big change. Uh, so that's those are some of the things. I'm sure there's countless others, but that's sort of how I've seen it evolve. Just more popular, more professional, social media, better cubes, better hardware, but still keeping that. I think in Seattle, like the spirit, the cubing community spirit of everyone's so supportive and encouraging one another. I mean, that's still there. That's been there since the start, and I feel like that's definitely something I felt in Seattle as well.
Okay, so you are an expert in championships just based on your experience. What are your wishes for future, whether it be national level, continental level, or world level?
Mm, future championships. Mm, I'm not. I'm not too sure. Actually, that's a good question. Um, I think for a long time, I'd always been keen to. Uh, I like whenever there's major championships that I don't go to. I love watching the
Mhm.
broadcast uh, and sort of being engaged that way. But I think that's sort of a little bit unique for me because I know like so many of the people there, sort of know the stories, follow the times, and sort of I can empathize with how they
Mhm.
feel and sort of have empathize with the situation. So I never know if the broadcast is something where I'm loving it, but you know others might not for those reasons. So in general, I always like to always been keen to see just the broadcast and a live stream develops the live streams develop, and that's something we've seen like definitely at Worlds 2025. That stream was insane, and you can see it in the
Hmm.
views on
Mhm.
YouTube compared to any other previous competition. Just how legit and professional that was, and so that had always been a sort of a wish of mine is to be able to sit down on the couch uh, and and watch like a really great cubing stream. So I hope that template can sort of continue for future championships. Obviously, there's a lot of effort and budget and stuff that goes into it, but I think you can see sort of the rewards that it brings. And the WCA account now is posting finals highlights and things like that. So getting to similar sorts of things, doing similar sorts of things to what other sports or
Mhm.
hobbies do, right, with their broadcasts. So that's really cool.
I think before you keep,
Yeah,
I think you're onto something there. Even though you say you know the people, so you're sort of emotionally tied to their results
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and stuff too. But we're planning for our not our national one, our provincial one, so like a state level championships,
Mm,
and we're already talking, and it's for next summer. But we're already talking about putting together, having somebody be assigned to be the live stream lead and to develop a team,
nice.
and because they've got to do their research beforehand, right, to be able to
Mm,
produce. And
mm,
so we're looking into getting some equipment and having it all set up so that anyone could, like, you could watch our
Mm.
live stream, right? I think the world's live stream was very inspirational, is what I'm trying to say, for
Yeah,
different organizers and cubers. And
definitely. It raised the bar and I think showed what can be done and showed, I have no doubt there's going to be thousands of people that tune into that on YouTube that will have learned how to solve a cube, that will bring it to school, and 10 of their friends will learn how to solve a cube. Like it's that sort of thing. I mean, that's how I got into cubing, right? YouTube. That's
Mhm.
how so many people get into it. So
Mhm.
just that reach just keeps things growing. Yeah.
So that was what you'd like to see for future championships live stream. Anything else that you were, if you had a wish list?
I don't think so. I don't know. Definitely, yeah. That area where I can go and hide and
More
practice.
hiding areas.
If there's 7,000 people in the venue, that's very nice. But
Actually,
uh,
that is
yeah,
something
overall,
that, so previous episode was with organizers. Oh, I'm not sure if I edited this in a row, but just between you and me, that's actually something they feel very strongly about, is that they want to have more, not protection, but like more buffer for the top level celebrity cubers, because they definitely saw that that was needed.
yeah, no, I think it worked well. And again, this was the first competition, to be honest, in my whole like cubing life where it was like I really had to focus on
You
on
know
that
how Taylor
because it's
Swift
previously like
feels.
yeah. Like previously at world championships or whatever, there's enough time throughout the day, right?
Yes,
It's
yeah.
4 days. You're not competing that much, so you know people can come up and get their picture or autograph, or that they'll have a session, and it kind of means that yeah, you won't be sort of tapped on the shoulder every 5 meters, but yeah, this this was next level. So I really appreciated the sensitivity that they had for again only a few people, um, uh, to be thinking of uh, everyone's
Yes.
circumstances in that way is was very nice. I think.
Okay, so a couple of more questions before I let you go. One, what is a day in the life of Felix now and Felix 15 years ago?
Okay, day in the life for me now. Day in the life for me now is I will, if it's a weekday, I get up and go to work, and uh, I quite enjoy my job and my colleagues, and yeah, I really like what I do, and I got enough time to explore and enjoy the other things that I do outside of work as
Tell us
well.
about your
So
job. It's a big part of your life now.
um, yeah, so I work at it's called the Future Fund. It's like a pension fund in Australia, basically, and so I'm in like the one of the investment teams there. So we're sort of making decisions about do we want more of this asset class, or do we want to invest in this other asset class. So it's a sort of open ended problem, and fun, and yeah, I find it quite rewarding, and like I said, enjoy the people on the team. So I do like that, and I always said like if I didn't like my job so much, I would be doing way more cubing, or like trying to do
Ah.
something in cubing. But it's whether it's unlucky or lucky that I found something that I really enjoy. It it uh, it is what it is. So yeah, I'll do that.
Do your coworkers
Sorry.
know you are Felix Zemdegs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, people have known about the cubing stuff. It's hard to miss. And so many of the coworkers, they'll have kids that get into it, and want me to bring a cube or sign a cube or
Mhm.
something like that. So I swear it's like every other person in there that has a kid is they're one of them is one of their kids
Hmm.
does cubing. Um, so yeah, work, and then I mean, if it's during the week, I'll come home and we'll do some exercise, have dinner, or go out for dinner, that sort of thing. Maybe watch some Netflix. I don't know. My partner, my wife, is now living with me as well as of earlier this year. So honestly, like the last sort of 6 months has been just us spending time together, like trying new restaurants, hanging out with
Oh.
friends. I'm into a few sports, so well, the big sport here is AFL football. So I'll sort of once a week watch that. it sounds pretty boring, but I don't know.
This is why I
Yeah,
ask.
I really, no, I really love it. I go for like I run like maybe twice a week or so, and do exercises, sort of strength training around that. But yeah, in between sort of family, friends, work, some cubing practice, and exercise, some other sort of Netflix and sport. Like that's kind of my life for now. Yeah, it sounds boring, but I love it.
It sounds busy to me. I'll tell you that.
Yes, it is. I think it is busy, to be honest. I don't have much downtime. And I always say to my boss, like when I go overseas for whether it's like cubing trip,
Mm.
like Worlds, or I went to China after that, um, she's like, "Oh, have fun on your holiday."
Is
And I'm like, "It's not a holiday. It's more intense. It's way more intense than my actual job."
You need a
So
holiday
yeah,
after the
not much
holiday if
downtime.
that's the case.
Exactly, exactly. Coming home is the holiday after Worlds. And then, yeah, sorry. And then I think the other part of your question was 15 years ago. 15 years ago would have been go to school, come home, homework, sports practice, music practice, cubing, um, then cube the night away. I would think.
Very different.
Much less cubing now, but still a bit.
Yes. Um, okay, I have to ask this. So, what suggestions or advice do you have for cubers who want to be the next Felix Zemdegs?
Oh my goodness. uh, yeah, maybe. Oh, okay. Start when you're young. Start cubing when you're very young, because I think there's many reasons why very young cubers would have an advantage. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's research on it, but like your brain is better at learning new things. You're probably better at recognizing patterns quickly, and maybe even better dexterity. So I think there's, yeah, clearly, and it's been evidenced, but clearly there's a lot of advantages to starting young. So I would say that, but otherwise, uh, I'm not sure. I just sort of, uh, I mean, don't, yeah, I think a big thing is resilience. Like don't,
Mm.
um, things will go your way and things won't go your way. And this is not about, becoming the best in the world, but this is just about doing the best that you can for yourself. Yeah, try to remember and understand that um, that yeah, cubing won't be perfect and you won't get the results you want to all the time. And there's a lot of frustration, but it will come. You'll get the results you want, and you'll practice and you'll improve. And whenever you're frustrated, there's always yeah, it'll always only ever be
Hmm.
temporary, I would say.
Do you have any tips on structuring practice and improving times? Anything around that?
Um, I think, yeah, I think when you first get into it, when I first got into it, a lot of what I did was just learn the new thing and then just do tons and tons and tons of solves. Um, I think what I do more of now, and especially when you're getting to the sort of I don't know, sub 12, sub 10 region, is really understand and work on your weaknesses. So I think build an understanding of what you're good at and what you're less good at, and try to focus try to focus on areas where you think there's a lot of room for
Hmm.
improvement. So for me, for example, I think that's like my inspection and my solutions for the first two F2L pairs, for example. So I tend to be someone that doesn't see as far into the solve, and therefore I have more pauses at the start of my solve. And so what I practiced a lot, sort of going into the World Championships or into this year, was really that start of the solve phase.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think being sort of mindful, and a good way to do this is probably like videoing yourself, and rewatching that, because that's the easiest way you'll, I think, see what you're good at and what you're not. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just sort of drills, repeated practice. But yeah, be as thoughtful as you can, I
Hmm.
would say. And slow solves are great, I reckon. Lots of casual solves.
Yes. Where the time isn't what's important, but learning the skill.
Exactly. Yeah. The time is not the important thing. I don't think I would have done barely any timed 5x5 solves, for example, since Worlds, but I've done so many untimed ones,
Mm.
and I feel like I've improved a lot um, just through doing that and really focusing on the solution part of it.
Yeah, great tips, right? For a young cuber, this is really good information because they're not clear on how to navigate improving. They just know they want to.
Yeah, and I guess another big one, especially for younger cubers, newer cubers, would be like, don't try and copy, what you see on YouTube from the pros, right? Don't try and turn as fast as you see online. Focus on focus on your
Yes.
solutions and your look ahead and your efficiency, not trying to turn at a million turns a second.
Because that comes with time and practice. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, and so like having good solutions and good technique will naturally lead you to um, should naturally lead to sort of faster ability to turn. But if you're just sort of spamming and trying to turn as quickly as possible, you're probably not looking ahead well. You're probably not having efficient solutions, and so you're sort of doing it in the wrong way around. Whereas the better way to do things is start with the solution and then build up the turning speed rather than turning as quickly as you can all the time.
So
Yeah,
sometimes it's better to slow down before you speed up.
yeah. Smooth
Execution.
is almost yeah. Smoothness and good solutions is much more important. Um, it will mean you can turn faster if you do those things.
Yeah, very valuable advice. Thank you, Felix. All right. Is there anything else, do you feel like? I think you've given us a lot of really good information and history.
Yeah,
And
yeah. No, we've covered a lot. So no, just yeah, looking forward to the next whatever it is, 17 years of cubing, pretty much. I don't know. I always wondered when I would be less
oh,
into it
there's a
or
question.
stop stop being obsessed with cubing, but I don't know. Um, hasn't happened yet. I'm still watching all the YouTube videos, looking at the commentary, looking at live results all every weekend, and so yeah, I don't know. Maybe never.
Thank you again, Felix.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me.
That sounds like the end, but it isn't quite the end because Felix and I chatted a bit more afterwards about a few things, and some things he said about his parents I wanted to share with you as well. So, your parents have been so supportive of your cubing, even taking trips. Do either of them solve or compete?
My dad learned how to solve, I think, in 2016. We were going to the European Championships. That was the first time and only time I've been to the Euros. But we went together and I taught him on the plane. And so he'd always wanted to learn. He goes to competitions, I would say, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a year. And he'll compete at most of them. And he does a lot of the data entry at the competition. So whenever he's there, he's sort of um, off to the side doing very very efficient data
Mm.
entry for all the results. And so yeah, I'm sure they really appreciate him. And it's always it's more fun when he's around. And my mum will go to fewer competitions, but she'll be the social one, so she'll be chatting to all the parents and knows every cuber's name
Aw.
and every their whole story and their parents' names, even more than I do, to be honest. And she goes to far fewer comps, so they'll still come along to competitions here or there, but yeah, much less than than when I was young, obviously. But yeah, they're still involved.
That's
They're still involved
amazing
for sure.
because you can get yourself there. You don't need them to feed you, get you food,
Yeah,
but they're still willing to come
exactly,
and spend time with the community. That's so special.
exactly. No, it's very nice.
So, yeah, I wanted to include that bit because it's so nice that his parents are still helping out. And it sounds like it's not just Felix's community, it's also their community. So, if you are a parent who's listening, I know many of us are in the sandwich generation. Our to do lists are long and our stress levels can be so high. Sometimes giving back can be a refresher and a short but good respite from all that's going on at home and at work and everywhere else. Giving back, like doing a round of data entry or getting to know a couple members of your local community, giving back to your Speedcubing community is always welcome. Thank you again to Feliks for your time and for your patience. There were so many points where I wish I could have published this sooner, like when Feliks won the Australian Nationals this year in 3x3, which is 15 years after he first won it in 2010. I wish I could have published it before his Feliks and Max camp that happened in November, but this did publish before the end of the year. And so that's a wrap on the World's 2025 recap, which took a lot longer than expected. If you missed those episodes, episode 18 was a World's recap with Tingman. Episode 19 was a World's 2025 recap with Alyssa Esperez. If you watched the live stream, you would have seen her very involved there. If you haven't seen the live stream, I linked to it in the show notes of this episode, along with the Dan Brown YouTube channel that inspired Feliks to get a cube. So do check out the show notes. The last episode, episode 20, was with two members of the organization team for Worlds 2025. That's Shelly Chang and Vincent Xu. They are part of Cubing USA. And to reiterate, Cubing USA is looking for more volunteers. You can always email them at info@cubingusa.org. That's info@cubingusa.org. So now that our World Series recap of Worlds 2025 is published, I'm going to be returning to my folder of interviews that I haven't edited and published yet. So yes, please join me for the episodes that are publishing in 2026 because you're going to hear from cubers who are making a difference and have made a difference in our Speedcubing communities. One change though, I won't be returning to the Cube news segment only because there is so much news out there. It is too hard for me to cover everything or cover some things and then not cover other things because there just isn't enough time to. You will still hear a tip from a delegate. The next tip will be from Manu Singhal, who is also the new senior delegate for the United States and Canada. Speedcubing 101 also has a new member to the team. Katie Hinckley will be taking care of the graphics for Speedcubing 101 moving forward. She is a delegate in the Midwest region of the United States and a new friend. I know episodes don't publish frequently, but if you are enjoying the episodes here on Speedcubing 101, you can show your support by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or another podcast listening platform. You can also subscribe on YouTube. The channel name is Cube Mom Official. All right, I wish you a happy holidays and a happy new year. Wishing you many PRs in 2026. If you have any questions, suggestions, or corrections, please email me, cubemomofficial@gmail.com. That's cubemomofficial@gmail.com. Happy holidays and go Cubers go.